we are seeing kind of the rise of the online relationship expert, and I'm kind of stunned that no one's kind of analyzing what this means for us, right? Like, no one is like, yo, what is going to happen to us post the rise of the relationship expert? So you have Kevin Samuels, you have the Roommates podcast. They do this. There are other YouTubers out there in the quote unquote manosphere who are relationship gurus, relationship experts. Alpha Male Strategies is one. A couple of others that I can't think about right now off the top of my head. But I'm fascinated that we are seeing kind of these individuals who have no credentials. But look, I'm not Mr. Credential guy here. So I'm not saying that you have to have, a degree from, psychology or dating or love or sex in order to give advice on sexuality and mating habits. I don't believe that. I think some of this whole you need to be qualified stuff is just elitist garbage. Good advice is good advice no matter who's giving it, in my opinion, right? And that's just my opinion. But some self-analyzing does need to take place here about how we got to a point where so many people, A, want relationship advice, and B, are willing to take it from people who are really just strangers. That's it. They're just strangers. And so here's my theory on this. I think this is the loneliest people have been in a long time. This is not just because of the pandemic. Yes, loneliness has risen during the pandemic. And so I wouldn't be shocked if people rated higher or tested higher post the pandemic if asked, hey, are you lonely? Have you experienced loneliness? But the loneliness thing has been building up kind of before the pandemic. It's kind of, in my opinion, a byproduct of the social media era, right? And so many of us, we are constantly tweeting. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on dating apps. We are cyberly, we're there. We use the internet all the time. So using the internet is not a problem for us. We can use the internet. We're doing all of these things. We are meeting. We're dating. We're having sex. But we're not connecting because things got so crazy on the internet side. And so since we're using the internet so much and we're not really, congregating in person, we're not going to church like we used to go to church. We're not going to parties. We're not meeting people in person like we used to. And even when you go to a party where there's some dancing, there's not really any connecting. Once again, there's grinding, there's dirty dancing, there's humping. There's no connecting though. So strangers aren't meeting like we used to meet. And what it has led to is these insane levels of loneliness. And people are hella lonely, man. They are lonely. And so it is natural for people to want to, hey, how can I kind of increase the odds of me getting someone of the opposite sex? Most people are heterosexual. Most people are looking for someone of the opposite sex. And so if you are gay listening to this, don't get offended. Yes, I am excluding you, but I'm excluding you because just statistically speaking, you guys are insignificant in the grand scheme of these things. And so people are looking for ways to engage with the opposite sex, especially men, because for men, the burden of a relationship is on us. We are the ones that have to make the first move. We are the ones that have to, quote unquote, spit game, talk a woman into liking us, talk a woman into saying yes so we can take them out on a date. That's the male responsibility. Women kind of just have to look pretty and then wait for the guys to come. Although some women are taking it upon themselves to be more proactive in the dating game, it is primarily the responsibility of the man to pursue in this dating game. And so more men are lonely, more men don't know exactly how to approach women, a la you see the rise of the relationship expert. And so a guy like Kevin Samuels, who primarily, he speaks to women, the reason why he's popular is he is, whether he knows this or not, he is kind of the culmination of male rage and male anger towards women. And so now I'm not saying that Kevin himself hates women or he's anti-female, but his show, it gives men something to feel good about, seeing a guy like Kevin Samuels go back and forth with women and really kind of dismantle their dating hopes and dreams. We have to be real about this. Dudes who are miserable in their personal lives, they like that shit. They like seeing it. I'm someone who thinks Kevin Samuels is very, very entertaining. Now, I also happen to agree with about, I would say 90% of what he talks about regarding male-female relationships, desirability, increasing your dating value, et cetera, et cetera. I think most of his advice in that realm is spot on. That said, I can definitely see how you're a guy who is a misogynist or who's just frustrated with his place amongst the female gender, how that show can be very enticing, right? And so that explains his rise. The Roommates podcast, Hafiz, he does these solo shows where he gives guys advice about getting women, attracting women. He's kind of moved into that lane heavily recently with the Roommates podcast. Guess what? Guys are listening to him because they want to know, okay, how can I make myself more appealing to attract more women to counteract this level of loneliness? See, people think these dudes are out there looking into this stuff because they just want to have sex with women. And I think that is way off basis. These dudes want love from women. They don't just want to hump them and dump them. They want love. They want relationships. They want marriages. They want families. They want these things. So the more isolated we are, the more people are seeking help from anywhere they can get. And so if you can be charismatic, and you can sell, half-baked truths about male-female relations, you kind of have an audience. That's what we've seen. And I think we should all look at this, and instead of constantly bitching and complaining about Kevin Samuels or Alpha Male Strategies or Hafiz from the Roommates podcast or Obsidian, O'Shea or Duke Jackson, I'm naming all of the heavy YouTube names in the Black manosphere community. Before we kind of trip and just give these guys hell for spitting what they spitting, maybe we should take this and think, wow, so many people are lonely because they're seeking this advice. Let's attack the loneliness problem. Let's examine the loneliness problem. If you do that, you get rid of the problematic relationship expert. Just saying.